Most brutal female killers. They say hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. These women prove just how brutal and horrific they can be. Starting off in Colorado, you may be wondering why this cute, innocent-looking girl is in court, but you'd be horrified to know she's there because Isabella Guzman stabbed her mother 79 times. 19-year-old Isabella Guzman was an average, sweet and friendly girl, but according to her family, that all changed when she started growing older. She would often lock herself in her room, but nobody would feel that terrifying change more than her mother, Yunmi Hoy, when she found a letter written by Isabella reading, "You will pay." Unfortunately, Isabella made true on her promise when she followed her mother to the bathroom one day and stabbed her 31 times in the face and 48 times in the neck. Luckily, her mother had already alerted the police when she saw the letter, and Isabella was arrested. In court, Isabella displayed very disturbing behavior, smirking, staring into the camera, shaking her head and making strange gestures. All of this reinforced her plea that she had schizophrenia and delusion, thinking her mother was some threat she needed to get rid of to save the world. Clearly mentally ill, Isabella was found not guilty by reason of insanity and admitted to a psychiatric hospital, where she remains to this day. While Isabella Guzman was brutal, Taylor Schabusiness took it to a whole new level. On a February 2022 night in Wisconsin, Taylor Schabusiness and her boyfriend Shad Therian were hanging out in his basement. Shortly after, as Taylor left, Therian's mother was awoken by the sound of her slamming a door and driving off. When the mother went down to the basement, though, she saw a scene of absolute horror. Shad Therian was strangled, mutilated, dismembered, and his head was separate in a bucket. Therian's mother managed to compose herself long enough to call the police, who caught Taylor literally red-handed, with blood and cuts all over her. After delays of the trial, Taylor had the nerve to plead not guilty. Her defense was that the couple used meth and trazodone that night. But unless she was using the same substances in court, her arguments get instantly weak when she suddenly decides to attack her attorney. Charged with first-degree homicide, mutilation, and third-degree sexual assault, Taylor's case is still pending. Sometimes real life gets as wild as a crime drama, such as the case of Ashley MacArthur. Pensacola, Florida, witnessed a missing persons case, fraud, and murder, all related to one person, Ashley MacArthur. It all started when a private investigator by the name of Taylor Wright was reported missing. After some texts to her partner, Cassandra Waller, that didn't really seem like Taylor, the number one suspect became the last person she was seen with, Ashley MacArthur. When investigators looked into Ashley, however, they found a check for $34,000 deposited to her account under Taylor's name. The investigation eventually led to Ashley's family farm, where the body of Taylor Wright was found buried. As the trial began, evidence of Ashley buying soil and cement surfaced, as well as claims that Taylor was trying to get the money back from Ashley. As the trial went on, more dirty laundry came out, including a previous 7-year sentence for Ashley for racketeering and fraud. The trial was extremely divisive, since there was no physical evidence like a weapon linking Ashley to the crime, and the fact that Taylor was taking various drugs. Still, those who were in support of Taylor were made happy by the judge, who made a fateful decision to condemn Ashley as guilty and sentence her to 25 years to life. Sometimes the killer can be a mystery, especially when it comes to couples like Raheem Grant and Sierra Harp. In Atlanta, Georgia, Sierra Harp showed up one day at her neighbor's house, covered in blood and stab wounds. However, when she testified to the police that her famous rapper Raheem Grant was abusive towards her, they found him in even worse condition, with 3 gunshot wounds that took his life. To investigators, it was clear that Sierra was defending herself against her abusive boyfriend, but the truth is often far different from what it may seem. It turned out Grant had been shot 7 times, and that he had stab wounds prior to the shooting. Sierra insisted that she was defending herself against his abuse, but a video filmed by both of them on Grant's phone caught her in a possible lie.
I do not care if I go to jail for the rest of my life.
On Grant's end, that Harp would go on erratic jealousy fits, and that she was the one who told Grant to record Harp's actions. In the video, Grant is literally begging for his life against the unrelenting Harp. Harp was eventually arrested and tried for malice, murder, and aggravated assault, and no doubt regarding her wrongdoing was shed when her own mother showed up in court to school her.
You reveled in disrespect, foolery, and ignorance. You repeatedly hurt the family.
Harp blamed everything on the high levels of alcohol she had consumed. Apparently, she mistook alcohol for a murderous whisper demon, and the court didn't seem to care much for her excuse, granting her 125 years of prison time. Oftentimes, witnesses in a murder case can be friends, family, or neighbors. But what happens when the key witness in a murder case is a parrot? In the case of Glenna Durham, the motivation might have been more tragic than the actual crime. After Glenna and her husband Marty were suffering from endless financial issues, ranging from Glenna's gambling addiction to Marty's health problems from an accident, took to their home being auctioned off, a neighbor walked in to check on them one day and found both shot on the floor. While Marty had lost his life, Glenna clearly had time left on this earth, as she survived gunshots to the head, but couldn't remember a thing. After finding the murder weapon, as well as suicide notes by Glenna, she was clearly the suspect in a murder-suicide case. But a year's wait put the cast to bed, until the unimaginable happened. Nature blew the doors on the case wide open when a video surfaced of Marty's parrot, Bud, mimicking the final words he'd heard from his owner. The video put a clear target on Glenna's back, who likely tried to take both their lives, but was unsuccessful. Glenna was eventually arrested and charged with murder, and in court she seemed as lost as she was irritated, perhaps for what she'd done, or her failure at doing so. Glenna was given a life sentence without parole, and while many wanted the death penalty, the courts usually don't grant criminals what they originally wanted. Speaking of tragic, no one can live with the blood of their own sister on their hands, but alcohol has done worse to people like Olivia Culbreth. After losing her driver's license once for 5 years for drunk driving, Olivia Culbreth didn't learn her lesson when she got back behind the wheel with a blood alcohol level of 0.15, with her own sister and her best friend with her. This horrid decision led her to ram into a car with a family of 5 when Olivia was going 100 miles per hour the wrong way on the freeway. Out of the 7 people in both cars, only Olivia survived, bound to a wheelchair now. Olivia's insane survivor's guilt was on show in court. What kind of person can commit the same mistake twice, killing their own family? And even worse, the accident was only 11 days after Olivia gave birth to her first child. Unfortunately, the child will have to grow up without his mother, since Olivia received 25 to 30 years of prison time for 6 counts of second-degree murder. Many things can lead to murder, but delusion and jealousy are on another level, such as with Taylor Parker. In 2020, Taylor Parker had been failing her pregnancy, faked ultrasounds, and even had a gender reveal party. Her one issue, though, was that her pregnancy was unsuccessful, so she decided to do something truly vile and despicable to her somewhat friend, Regan Simmons Hancock, who was 35 weeks pregnant. Parker not only attacked Hancock, but she also slashed her abdomen open, pulled her unborn child out, and drove around with it with the umbilical cord inside her pants. One officer stopped Parker for reckless driving and had to witness the horrific scene for himself. The baby didn't make it, and Parker was about to face justice. In court, Parker looked sad and destroyed, which elicited feelings from no one, especially the judge, who gave her the death penalty for capital murder.